was different. I seen it, I thought it, I dreamt it, I said it, I did it, I made it, I tasted it, I love it, I need it.
What is going on, y'all? Y'all are tuning in to Cheap Dope. You're probably wondering what that stands for. It stands for cheap dopamine. That is a term I like to use for what is destroying our young generation, especially young men, because a generation of weak men leads to a fucking weak society. And, of course, we're seeing it nowadays more than fucking ever. Got my best friend on the show. He needs to be a... Dude, just need to be a co-host by this point.
Yeah, probably. At this point, yeah. Just hop on as a co-host.
I mean, this dude's busy for a... 23-year-old.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be 24 later this year. Fucking has got 2 kids in the Army. And about the... you're about to get your business degree.
Yep. Almost done. June 30th. That's when I'm wrapped up with that. And about to take a course for continuous improvement, known as Lean Six Sigma.
Continuous
it's my yellow
improvement.
belt. Yeah, it's just a business
I didn't even
cert.
know you were fucking doing this shit.
Yeah, I'm starting it next week, I think. So, and then I'm doubled up on my... So I do one class every 7 weeks at my school, which is awesome. 10 out of 10
Really?
recommend. Yeah. Best college experience I've ever had. Going from doing a full semester load to changing to
Like
that.
a U of A?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't.
Oh, bro.
It just didn't work for me. It did not work at all. Especially going like during the COVID crap and going online to in person. Going back to in person was terrible. I'm gonna be honest. So I just I swapped to full online and I've loved it ever since. Honestly, I don't think I would ever do college another way.
Yeah, other than
And
online. Because
I push people to do that all the time. I'm like, just do that because then you can work. Dude, I was able to work 40 hours a week at least.
yeah, you don't have to be present at a class too.
And I did 12 hours while I was deployed too. So it was easy.
Yeah.
It wasn't even that difficult. Like,
Yeah, dude. I mean, I think a lot of people just want to go to college because they just want to relive high school again.
Yeah,
essentially.
this is all the clicky crap and stuff like
I mean,
that.
with all the frats and
Yes.
stories and shit, whatever.
100%.
Yeah, well, that's pretty fucking dope, dude. I didn't even know you were doing all that. But
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
all right. Let's get
Busy.
into it. So, look, guys, here on the show today, we talked about it's gonna be all over the fucking place. I'm gonna tell you this right now.
Yep.
Like we're gonna talk about a recap of what we've been doing lately. We got a couple of deals talking about just attacks on certain the largest Christian university and the intentionality behind it. How history was written by the victor. I mean, we should all know that. Just know that all the history that you're being taught is by the people who won, right?
Yeah,
so
100%.
there's 2 sides. There's 3 sides to every story. Our side, the other side,
And the truth.
So just know that. This one's going to be good. We're going to talk about how racism was invented. We're going to talk about lost civilizations, technology, and it's going to be all over the place. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be a good one.
It's gonna be a good one.
So, dude, tell them about what we've been doing lately.
Man, so we've been on the 75 Hard program. If you're not familiar with 75 Hard, highly encourage you to go listen to Real AF. It's another podcast by Andy Frisella.
the best.
Episode 208 on the audio feed of Real AF is the 75 Hard program.
Don't be a hoe.
Share the show. It's a most popular mental toughness program. I'm currently on day 25. I've seen some changes. My recap of it is it'll expose you if you're not effective. There's a difference between being efficient and effective. If you're not effective, you're going to get exposed. I've chugged water at least 2 or 3 times at like midnight, trying to hurry up and drink my gallon of water. I've got it fixed now. It's good now. I've got a little routine going and everything's functioning, but it's all going to be thrown into shambles as soon as I, start back at a job, because I'm currently on leave right now. So,
dude, and one thing too is whenever I did my first 75 hard and then coming off of it, and then I was just I took out the outdoor ruck and whatever.
Yep.
Dude, I just fell off.
Yeah.
I didn't and honestly, I was super eager to do it again whenever you got back because it just it gets you into a flow state where you're just locked in and you're gonna have test day. Dude, I'd be lying dude, if I didn't tell you I was at night at freaking 12:30 in the morning. Like realizing I have to read, I'm like sitting there in my bed. I'm like,
oh my
ugh.
gosh,
and I'm like falling asleep. And I have to wake up and finish like 3 more pages. Like
bro, that's me every time. That's me every night.
Yeah,
it's like I'll put reading off, and I'm trying to fix that.
That was always my biggest issue is procrastination, and it helps that because you have to for you to be able you got certain tasks on a day-to-day basis to hit, and it'll help your procrastination to where you put those things first. And I've always been a victim of I'll do that shit later.
Yeah, I'm guilty of it too.
Yeah, I think
pretty much
a lot of
everything
us
I do.
are.
I'm trying to fix that.
Yeah, and that's the reason why we're fucking doing it.
Yep, 100%.
Like simple as that. Like
I plan on continuing through
I
with
wanna
the
do
whole
Live
Live Hard,
Yeah,
the whole Live Hard
Live
program,
Hard.
which is
Now,
a year-long program.
Yeah, one thing I've added too, because it's in the book I'm reading, Psycho-Cybernetics, it talks about like visualization.
Oh, that's
and
a
that
big
10
thing.
minutes of visualization is in Live Hard too. So
Yeah.
visualization is actually a very, very, very valuable skill to adopt and to participate on a daily basis.
Yeah, man.
Because you're literally tricking your subconscious mind into that's reality.
Yep.
And then you attract that reality essentially, right? But you
Yep.
also got to put in the action on a day-to-day basis to be able to get to it.
100%.
Because I mean, dude, I necessarily did it like through a lot of things in my life so far. So that's
Yep.
why I like shoot for the sky.
Yes, 75 hard in the power list. The power list,
the
dude.
power list is the most
awesome.
that's the most powerful.
Yeah.
I've failed a lot on the power list though already.
Oh my god, dude! On when I started 75 hard, the first like 4 days on the power list fail immediately because I was like, I feel like I was so overwhelmed doing the 575 hard tasks, and I'm like, all right. And then I just like sat down, and then just one day I was just like, I'm getting my power list done today. I'm getting a win today. I don't care. I don't care what it takes.
It's like win the day. Like then, dude, that's what tests your character when he pushes the deal. Because bro, we gotta fail to be able to get to the top. I mean, dude, it's just like Michael Jordan. The reason why he's like, I failed so many times in my life. That's why I succeed, man.
Yeah, that whole long quote about all the shots he's missed. All the I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like, dude, I mean, we can do. They'll turn into a whole podcast.
Yeah,
when it
that
comes
could be
to
a whole
that.
nother show.
We gotta stay on track. So, the 75 hard experiences you see, like, we highly recommend it to you. It's the number one mental program, mental toughness program in the world. Andy Frisella is a legend. Shout out to his podcast. I will forever recommend that to everybody. Not only does he talk about personal development, he talks about literally very similar to exactly what we talk about, everything going on in the world. Sometimes we just dive a little bit deeper. So we talked about the benefits of the program. I mean, it just gets you locked in. Then you get to the point where you're not procrastinating, and then you're executing on a day-to-day basis. And that's what's going to help you get the goals you want, because you can't just show up and half-ass things. You got to lay a brick every day. And the whole point of the power list is that you do 5 critical tasks on a day, and then that are going to help get you forward. Not like fucking do your laundry or something. Like something, if you're in a business or whatever position you are, like it's going to be moves that are going to move you towards that goal. And you do that every single day, no matter what, just 5 tasks. You will, you lay that brick by brick every single day. You look back, next thing you know, you built the whole wall. So highly recommend it. And I've only been, you said 25. Yeah, it's only been 25 days. And like I've already noticed, just like through hitting some power list days, it's helped boost my business overall. So
100%.
It's so vital. So definitely recommend that. Okay, and then let's we want to recap over this Ryan Garcia stuff real fast. I just kind of want to recap on it. So I was talking about Ryan Garcia and the whole deal on one of my second episodes, and how he's coming out talking about the Bohemian Grove and all that stuff. Yeah, we get it. A lot of these people are exposed to this stuff whenever they're in the industry like that. I mean, my mentor, not going to say his name. I don't know if he really wants me to mention his name, but he's a celebrity trainer. He's trained Puff Diddy. He's trained multiple celebrities in the industry. And he's told me a lot of, I guess you say, confirmation stories about like the stuff that partakes in that industry. And it's evil and it's demonic, but it's funny that the odds against him. Did you see the odds of him like postally?
No, I heard about it. He bet on himself and like cleared a bag.
He bet $2 million and got 12 mil back.
Yeah.
So like it was like,
which is crazy. I thought he was, this guy's like.
They had Devin Haney, like it was like for sure, like like I don't know what the odds were in the bets, but like everybody had like the odds were like in Haney's favor, like by a fuck ton.
Yeah.
And then he comes out and destroys Haney. But it's funny that then they come out and say that he was trying to take Osterine.
Yeah.
Which then again, like, even if he was taking Osterine's not gonna make so much. It's a SARM. It works, but it's not gonna do like a whole like an advance. I mean, I guess when you're boxing and stuff. But at the end of the day, the whole argument I'm about to make here is like, dude, all athletes take shit.
Yeah. The big one to hit on is Conor McGregor's got a fight coming up June 29th, right? Michael Chandler.
Yeah, dude, he was
Go back and look at McGregor.
Peptides.
Yeah. Oh my god.
He was taking peptides to recover his broken leg.
Yeah.
He talks about it.
And just look at McGregor back in like October or November-ish. That dude is like he was juicing, bro.
Yeah.
He
when he was weighing like 190 or something like
yes,
that.
dude.
Just insane.
Yes.
And he's like my
numbers.
height.
Yep.
He's literally my height.
Yep.
Like so
and there's so many accusations. A former Bills running back came out. I think it was Sean Taylor or something like that. I don't know. Former Bills running back came out and said that it runs rampant in the NFL. I mean, I'm sure it runs rampant in the NBA. It's in every professional
okay, so
sport.
we're going to talk about we're going to dive into the little fitness here. So I'm about to tell y'all something. I'm a nerd when it comes to this stuff, okay? What y'all got to realize is these athletes, their bodies are their freaking that's their income. Their bodies and how they function. Like, how do you think LeBron is almost 40 years old? Or is he 40?
I don't know if he's hit 40. He's 39 for sure. So I don't know if he's
almost 40
yet.
years old, and his bone structure, his bone density is the body of an 18-year-old.
Exactly.
And there's literally peptides. Look up BPC 157, TB 500. You got SARMs. Like, I don't know if he would be taking something. Might be taking like LGD. LGD is a SARM that literally increases bone density and improves muscle mass. It was made for AIDS and cancer patients. Like, but there's these compounds and everything but peptides mainly because peptides don't give off side effects. They're a bundle of amino acids.
Yeah.
So LeBron, how do you think these guys can, a man that's 39 years old, playing after all these years, stay at a high level durability.
Exactly.
And being able to play back-to-back night games, take maybe a day or two off and then go back again. And then, that's a lot of wear and tear in the body. Dude, BPC is like a huge compound that I would bet all my money on that there's these guys taking.
Yeah.
Like, how does Russell Westbrook tear his meniscus and then come back and then... You see what I'm saying?
Exactly, yeah.
But it's a false illusion because a lot of just to be frank, a lot of people, don't understand because they may have not been consistently going to the gym or just exercising in general or playing a lot of basketball games in general back to forth, even as a young kid, and then looking at how these people are reacting to that, or he torn meniscus, torn ACL, and then he's coming back 3 months later,
it's
more
like,
explosive.
dude,
if you've been and done it before, you would understand these people are taking enhancements, which I don't blame them.
No, exactly. That's the whole argument behind it. Is like we don't care. It's just like, man, it's just like don't criticize one and be like, oh, he was taking this. It's like unfair advantage. I'm like, bro, they're all taking it.
Yeah,
like,
they're all taking it. Yeah, because their body is literally their body's making the money, and of course they're going to take it, right?
100%.
So, and obviously, just going back on Ryan Garcia with Osterine. Osterine's a SARM. It's a very minor SARM. I know people have taken it and stuff, but it's a very minuscule compound. I mean, it still does effects and stuff. But for the fact that they're coming out after, why didn't they have the test before?
Exactly.
But then they're coming out test after he whoops Devin Haney's ass, and then there's pictures of Devin Haney with the director over the doping agency that
Yeah, and I know that I've heard there's a lot of scandals. I don't know any specific ones, but I've heard just some bad stuff about that same dope.
About Bear Bonds.
Yeah, and it's and they have so many
it's targeted players. I feel like there's something within contract or organization that something that was done didn't like, or someone got offended, and it's targeted. It could be because man, all these players take it. Don't let them fool you, man.
Exactly.
You can Aaron Donald. It's not a 6 foot shredded 285.
Exactly. 13% body fat or some crazy low number.
Just
and it's like, dude, that's
it's impossible.
That's not a thing.
It's impossible. Yep. So and I mean, but also just to go on in the industry, in the fitness industry nowadays, man, it's the wild fucking west. I mean, look at Liver King. He got exposed for spending $12,000 a month on compounds, and he was claiming to be natty because he fucking ate liver and bull balls.
Yeah, exactly. And he took a big hit for that, but he still has a content channel that's functioning. I just saw he did an event with Dan Crenshaw, Texas congressman.
Yeah, they did the Barbarian. He's still boosted. He's like, guys, I admit it. Liver King was taking drugs.
After he got
today
busted.
I'm sober free. And
I
like,
was
dude,
like,
you
whatever,
still
bro.
look the same, bro. You're not
I'm like,
sober,
whatever,
bro.
dude.
I feel like he did it for like maybe a month or so because he got really lean and dry, and then now he's filled back up.
No, he just doesn't care. And
Yeah.
he knows his audience
Well,
at this point doesn't care. so.
They know that he's on shit. Anyways, bro, they abuse people's lack of knowledge by telling you these things so they can sell you on a product, just like Mike O'Hearn to sell you on his fucking $40 carton duck eggs. That's the reason that he's 50-something years old and he's natural and he hasn't taken shit.
Everybody in the fitness industry knows Mike O'Hearn is not natural.
So really,
Put
this
that out
just
right
comes
now.
down to our overall freaking podcast we're talking about is the abuse of knowledge.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
So everything we're talking about is abuse of knowledge. We're just talking about like these athletes and people selling you fake courses and stuff because they say they're natural and they're really taking shit. Abuse of knowledge. Okay. So the Ryan Garcia shit, it's all bullshit. Like, yeah, even if he did, like Devin Haney's taking some peptide or something to give him recover, they all do. So don't let it get it twisted.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into the main topic of the show. All right. So you actually brought this one up, the GCU article.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
If you're unfamiliar with GCU, it's Grand Canyon University, right? And they're a private online Christian school, okay? And basically they got hit with like I think one of the largest fines ever. It was 37 million and some change.
It's 37.7 million. I got it right here.
Yep. And
The largest fine ever.
The reason they got the fine was supposedly lying about their doctoral program rates. The ironic or weird part is that this is, so I'm reading off his computer for the notes that we had, but the Department of Education fined Penn State for $2.4 million for failing to report sex crimes of Jerry Sandusky. 37 million to 2.4 million. All right.
Okay, listen. We caught you raping kids. $2 million.
Yep, exactly.
Hey, you lied about 1% on these rates. $37.7 million. Fuck you.
I will argue, I don't know if that 2.4 is adjusted for inflation, but it's 2.4 even with inflation. That's like
that's barely even 10. That's
exactly
like 10 years.
Yeah. Well, Bidenomics, man.
Okay, that's a good argument there.
Yeah.
No. In Michigan State, $4.5 million were failing to address sexual assault committed by Larry Nassar.
Which I'm pretty sure he was that dance coach that was molesting little girls for like years, and they got a $4.5 million fine. So that's a clear.
But listen, like we're talking about over a $30 million difference,
which is ridiculous. We're ridiculous. There's no explanation for that.
In percentages, like that's not even.
It doesn't. It's a drop in the 2.4 and 4.5 are drops in the bucket.
It's like a seventh, maybe. Like you know,
So it's pretty clear that they're trying to come after.
Okay. So let's talk about why GCU. GCU is the largest Christian university in America. Okay, so they have the most influence, and it's a great college. It's a great school. But why are they getting hit with the largest fine ever? Why are they being attacked so hard based on the doctoral rates for their colleges?
Yeah, it said the claim was that they lied about how much their doctorate programs would cost, like in their advertisements.
And they're trying to close down GCU, essentially.
Basically, the article later reads, it's from Fox News, and it later reads that they're vowing to shut down GCU, essentially.
So GCU being the largest Christian, we're talking about doctoral rate. We're talking about just money in there. We're not talking about sexual assault. We're not talking about people being molested.
This is like the largest is, I think it's just under 40,000 enrollment total with their online and in person. So it's a very big university.
It's a very big university and has great morals and great history behind it.
Exactly. I do know for a fact they're very friendly to military. From my time spent at GCU,
I took a couple classes there, and then that's when I got out of college because college wasn't for me. But yes, that's where I got a scholarship. Like a scholarship deal to GCU,
exactly,
and I can vouch that it was a very good college. It was a very good school, and it was online. It was very easy to work with.
I've had zero problems with them.
And they actually have good history, and they treat good morals. They're not. And would you say they're indoctrinated?
No,
not at all. They're their own. They're just isolated.
They do their own thing.
They do their own thing
because they're private.
So they're a private school, but it's the largest Christian school. So why would they be attacked so hard? And I mean, it talks about like literally in my other podcasts we talked about it's just the overall attack on Christianity. Why? Because they don't want people to have that conscious, to have those morals and understanding of and just the truth to set them free. At the end of the day, they don't want people to be just follow in those footsteps of it because it would just unite us. And I mean, this just kind of goes down to what we're talking about, how history was written by the victor, and then going into how racism was invented.
Yeah.
Which that is very unique. But before we touch on that, I just want you to let you know, like, there's a reason why I talk about the attack on Christianity in America.
It's happening.
It's happening because, I mean, you can literally look at the statistics. Back in 1950, over 95% of America identified as Christian. And over to 2000, it dropped to like 80-something percent. And then it was like 85%. And then in 2000, so we're talking about, no, it was 80%. So you're talking about a 15% decrease from 50 to 2000. That's 50 years, half a century, which is kind of understandable, right? A little bit.
Yeah.
But then from 2000 to now, it's like almost flat 60.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a well higher decrease, right?
Yeah, in half the time, pretty much.
So in half the time,
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. So why and you can see it, and we talk about through since social media, the exposure to the world, more manipulation through that. I mean, we can go on and on and on about that, but you just go watch the other podcasts, you'd understand. But this is now we're going to talk about history, because the moment that we're literally kids going into school, we're programmed. We're programmed from the jump. We're programmed with specific history. We're not taught the real truth of the world and all of it. We're only taught minuscules of it and then brush over it, and then with it, they cast a long shadow on other things. And this is just to be truth in school. What do they talk about all the time? The slavery and the Holocaust. Those are probably one of the most biggest history topics that you even talk about.
Yeah, they're definitely important to discuss too, because being aware of history prevents it from occurring again.
Yes.
But they don't really talk about dude, I didn't learn about how slavery or racism became a thing. Yeah, you learn about triangular trade maybe a little bit in high school, but I took a college African history class. Ended up being one of my favorite classes of all time. I thought I was going to hate it. I was like, this is going to be so boring. No, African history is actually awesome. And I had a great professor there. It was at the U of A, but it broke it down to basically how this started. And racism was essentially a social construct, like an idea that was invented to justify slavery, to justify enslaving another race of people or selling people. Yeah. And they went back and essentially altered history to make this acceptable. Because so the big thing is the Roman Empire, right, spanned all the way North Africa, modern day Turkey with Constantinople, now Istanbul, broke into two pieces later on, became the Western and Eastern Roman Empire. But during their height of their rule in Africa, they actually had multiple Roman generals that were black, right? Because they had African descent people in their military. And it was just it's just crazy because later on in history, right? So the Renaissance era is like the bringing back of the Roman culture, right? The architecture and stuff like that. And they changed the depiction, or they literally will put them on statues and coins where you can't see their race, and they changed them to white to just hide mask history, hide what actually happened.
Yeah. And what you're talking about, literally one of the Roman generals.
Yeah, I believe the general that defeated Hannibal at the Alps was black, and he's depicted as white in modern day. There was a Roman emperor who was a former general.
And he was black.
He was black, and they depicted him as white. Exactly. So it was an idea that was invented, and everybody went along with it.
Racism wasn't a thing before that.
No, it wasn't a thing at all. It didn't exist.
It didn't exist. People didn't even think about it.
No.
You just looked different.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't look at it as a specific race. And then this is what, I talked about, I mean, this has been the downfall of America since the 60s.
Yeah.
Even before that, just the implementing of racism to make people identify.
Shoot, I would even say the world from 1600 until you could even argue present day.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's been going all over the world, but just in America,
you can easily see it in America.
You could see the indoctrination of it. And then now we're even with politics, right? So I was talking about they want you to identify yourself as a race if you're an African American, Mexican American, Asian American, whatever. But what does it all end with?
American.
Okay, so
That's the only
and if
thing
you
that
go
matters.
to different countries, and if you go to France, you're not an Asian American. What are you?
American.
You're American, right?
dude.
So at the end of the day, we're all American, but they do this intentionally to identify us and divide us in certain sectors. So you automatically look at a person, you label them, oh, that's an African American, whatever, right? Instead of just look. But this is the reason why we love the military so much. I mean, military taught us like we all wear green, we all bleed red. The person to the left or right, you is your brother and sister. There's no difference. We all wear the same shit, and we all bleed red. Like it's that simple.
Exactly.
So then once you realize from that standpoint, when you're on the same team, it's different, right? So, but this is also now they add identities now.
Yeah.
They're adding
exactly.
more identities, not even just race.
Divide.
Gender.
Yep.
And like political identities,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So like, dude, before whenever we were young, I remember whenever I remember telling you this many times, like I didn't even know what a Democrat or Republican was.
Exactly.
Like I didn't know what a Democrat. Like I was so stupid. Like I'm not gonna lie, I was very like unknowledgeable about politics. I didn't care about any of that. I had no idea. I thought it was just funny. I didn't really know.
Yeah,
Like
you
you know
see
what
the
I'm saying?
memes or something like
Yeah,
that.
like I in high school, like I didn't really understand the whole Trump stuff. Like everyone, like some people didn't like him or whatever. Yada yada yada. I just didn't understand. And then until, really joining the military and then seeing the corruption on it. But like, nowadays, if somebody you guys got to think, this is what I'm talking about, the subconscious mind. Y'all got to watch because y'all are being programmed. They're planting seeds in your subconscious mind to think of something. So whenever you identify yourself to be a liberal, right, you're developing these ideologies from a screen, from what other people are telling you. So not only are you being brainwashed, essentially, right? So you're planting those ideologies in there, and you're identifying yourself as that because that's what you're soaking up.
Yeah.
And you meet somebody, and they say they're a conservative. Or vice versa, a conservative meets a person that's a liberal, and they say, I'm a liberal. That conservative person or Republican or whatever automatically, subconsciously labels that person and dislikes them automatically due to their label of them saying that liberal is not even part of their ideology.
Yeah.
But it was just like what you were talking about the other day. Like, if you wouldn't even known that guy was liberal and y'all talked and all this stuff and then you came to agree pretty much on everything. You have a moral agreements on literally everything.
Exactly.
Then all that shit wouldn't be a thing. But it's just another division tactic. So they can do that intentionally just to cause more division. It's just more little specks. Oh, can we get them to fight over this? Can we get fight over this? And then what it does is it creates people bitching on the same team.
Exactly.
It's no different. So go ahead. Sorry, bro.
I believe about like 80% of America would agree on pretty much most
Everything.
issues, and the other ones that wouldn't, like that extra 20% is just
Don't
like
matter.
dude. You're like radical so far gone. You've been brainwashed so much that you can't even like pull yourself out of your label that you've self-identified as, and just think about it as a person.
Yeah, even these people that like worship Trump and stuff. Fucking retards.
they're
These
nut
people on the
jobs,
left
bro.
that are fucking like
They're equally as nut jobs,
We're
yeah.
send transgender people to school to your kid's school to indoctrinate them with
bro.
with all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's fucked up. It's fucked up on both sides.
100%.
And two wrongs don't make a right at the end of the day.
Right.
So, I mean, at the end, bro, a lot of people, we don't want to be fucked with. We don't want to have all this stuff. But they want us to be dividing over things that do not matter. Like, and Andy Frisella, when they're talking about the abortion stuff, that's like something that it's a small percentage of what people go to.
Is it going to affect you?
Is it going to affect you?
No, it's not,
It's
man.
your whatever, right?
Yeah,
So,
I may not align with my religious beliefs or my personal
But I
beliefs,
don't
but
care.
it doesn't
It doesn't
matter.
affect
Those
me.
are my
Yeah.
beliefs. Those are
Yeah.
not the collective society.
If they want to go do that, they want to go. But you see what I'm saying? Like they do this stuff, and obviously, and this is how we see it. Like I see it clearly. Like, oh my god, this is intentional. Like,
Yeah, 100%.
obviously, it's like right in front of us. But what scares me is that we have to come on this show and talk about it because due to the amount of people that cannot just look past and realize.
Oh yeah, and they can't look past major mass media today. Like, bro, that would be my number one encouragement: is get away
God.
from mass media.
I
'cause
don't
they're
understand
all
it. I don't
trash.
understand it. I don't
They're all
understand it.
trash. There's not a
I mean,
single
we
good
talked about
one.
this. CNN is owned by Warner Bros. Fox News is owned by Disney.
Yeah.
Like you're telling me Warner Bros. And Disney hasn't cooperated before? They're in the
Exactly.
same movie industries.
Yeah, exactly.
Cartoons and stuff.
Yeah.
Come on, that's bullshit.
Yeah,
It's
so
like,
just like,
but one thing I like to make like a compared to like how this division is due to Americans. I compare it to like a basketball team. we've had a basketball team before. We went to San Antonio and people were all bitching at each other. Well, or just like in general, right?
Yeah.
Or you know.
You see it all the time in AAU.
Yeah, in AAU, whenever a team starts bitching at each other, are they gonna play good together?
Bro,
are they gonna win?
You better get whooped, man.
You get whooped every time.
Yeah.
We've had it happen to us. We played AAU
So
together.
many times, yeah.
Where like we get one kind of couple douchebag dudes come on the team and it causes a fight and they talk reckless and we're like, hey, fuck you, dude. And then it's just like bitching and the next thing you know, we lose, right?
Yeah.
And then everyone's like not trying because they don't want to try. That's exactly what's happening from like a civilization scale. Like, I know I'm comparing it to
On a large
basketball.
scale.
But we're on the same fucking team. Like we're all Americans.
And we generally want the same things.
Yeah,
like,
we want peace, we want freedom, we want a fruitful life, we want to thrive here on earth. But we're simply participating and abiding by and soaking up all this brainwashed information.
Yeah.
And then abiding by everything what's fallen to us. We talked about a lot on the previous podcast with COVID. Like,
yeah, exactly.
if COVID wasn't a prime example, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you know, how they want us to abide. And I just see it so clearly, but it's just hard to, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And people, some people don't see it. They just get blinded.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I think
like a large portion of people are starting to finally open their eyes.
But I feel like, to be honest with you,
there's still some
you know
people
why
out
I
there.
think they're blinded, and I mean, it's just it's your limited conscious. They're not vibrating at a higher frequency, dude. Like, and it sounds crazy to say, but like, dude, we operate in frequencies. Your moods and your level of knowledge and your open mind to the world is based on your frequency. And if a lot of y'all are living at such a dumbed down for frequency, or a low status, low frequency, low vibration, you're just stuck in the room. You can't elevate to a higher level of knowledge, you know. I don't know, just over the time of personal development and other things and meditation and whatever, and just prove myself, like, shit, man, I just kind of gained this knowledge over 5 years, bro.
Exactly.
It's been 5 years since we've been out of high school, and I've learned all this stuff I'm telling you right now is what I learned over the past 5 years. Like, other than certain life stuff, but I was a retard when I was in high school. I mean, I did stupid ass shit, dude. I was getting drunk before school, all types of stuff, man. Like, and then now it's like it's completely different. So we just talk about, like, man, the invention. If racism was invented, why would they paint a Roman general from black to white descent so they could make it appear, because whenever it was to justify slavery,
exactly,
and then they could cause white people to be superior, they wanted to switch anybody who's black to not represent a power of authority.
And the other part is people get brainwashed into thinking Africa was just this weak continent at that time, bro. At that time, look, 1840s through like
the richest
1880s.
man in the ever was from Africa.
Yeah, exactly. 1840s to 1880s. That's a different Africa. When Thomas Rhodes came up through Cape Town in South Africa and basically colonized all of Africa, and
but they
led
also
to World War
lost
I
all
and
their
World War II.
technology.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to that,
because they mass traded with Europe in the slave trade, the triangular trade system, and they lost so much stuff. And then the ancient civilization portion, they lost so much stuff. But yeah, the first university ever in the world was Timbuktu.
Yeah, that's why it's like an old saying, like, oh, you're from Timbuktu.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's like, oh, you smart ass. Like,
that was from Africa. Probably the richest person ever to exist in the world if you adjusted for inflation. Mansa Musa was African. He literally he was Islam, and on his trip to Mecca, right? Because in the Islamic religion, you take a pilgrimage to Mecca. So on his pilgrimage, he caused global inflation because of how much money he gave away or traded. So that's how wealthy we're talking about. And there's signs of that everywhere in not just Africa, but every ancient civilization. They were originally painted as these are weaker people. We have to colonize them and show them how to actually live, when in reality a lot of those ancient civilizations were completely dusting us Europe in technology wise.
And then everybody else is just trying to replicate what the technology and everything from those ancient civilizations.
If you want another one, Aztecs with or the Mexicans, as they're actually known, that's their real name. We changed them to Aztecs. They literally had an entire city basically made out of gold. Tenochtitlan, which is modern day Mexico City, was made out of gold.
Yes. Oh, bro. And not even to mention.
Go on and on.
So this is now, we're about to get straight into it. Before I go into that, talking about the rewriting of people, like them just changing the descent of leaders.
Yeah.
And
Journal accounts, if you want to talk about history being written by the victor.
I'm just going off the ancient tablets, because there's ancient tablets from Billy Carson talks about it. He's literally a expert in ancient tablets. He's read everything from the lost Sumerian tablets, the ancient Egypt, to the Mayans, to the Aztecs, to Cambodian, like all these hieroglyphs and everything that talk about. And a lot of people, don't really know Jesus' real name. His real name was Yeshua. It talks about in the Ethiopian Bible. Christianity was based from Africa, which a lot of people don't know this. The oldest church in Bible is in Ethiopia. Yeah. So it just gets to be, it's like, a lot of people are brainwashed because, dude, there's so many books in the Bible that were taken out, the lost books. I mean, the Gospel of the Holy 12 and the Book of Enoch, the Gospel of Holy 12, it literally talks about how Jesus, when he was 12 years old, he went to Egypt with his mom. And then, he comes back to Jerusalem when he's 32 years old, pops up in the New Testament. He's just 32, like nothing happened. But there's a lot of history, and it talks about it in the ancient tablets. And also the Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch was taken out of the Bible. It talks about him leaving this earth. Yeah. And, it talks about some people believe it was like God took him to heaven. Some other they'll believe it was taken to a different planet, whatever. But these are books that are taken out intentionally. And I would have to do more reading on them to give more insight. But there's a lot of research and everything you can get out there. And so, but Yeshua, if it coming from that descent, like, a lot of those books and everything do not claim him to be brown hair and blue eyes.
Yeah, exactly. He's
not modern day. They do it from a European descent, which he's not from here. He's a darker skin.
And they've already shown that they're willing to do that with evidence of Roman generals and emperors. So what makes you think that they didn't do it?
Yes, but this is how the Catholic Church kept control to be able to push their will onto the deal. So you can go back through history with the Catholic Church and talking about literally like indulgences. That's one. Do you know about indulgences? Yeah, like it's basically your taxes to heaven. Yeah, like they would make you pay your way, give up all your money to pray for your sins. Yeah, or even to that, or just to get granted in the heaven. Yeah, like it wouldn't even the shorten your time. It'd be like if you don't, you will not. You'll be stuck in purgatory forever. Yeah, and you won't go to heaven. Yep. It's like basically buying your way, and this is how they stole money from the people. That was the amount of manipulation and control. They
manipulated basically a ton of not modern Europe, but as Europe was forming, they manipulated them to go on the Crusades. Yeah, 4 Crusades, 5 Crusades. Yep, 3 major ones. Yep, Friedrich Barbarossa. Yep, Britain's army. What was basically modern day Germany's army. Yep. Gaul, all these civilizations literally marched their entire forces down there just for what? To reclaim ancient lands, supposedly. Yeah. For what? Yeah.
And also, there could be rediscovering ancient land. Yeah, exactly. And trying to steal knowledge. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of things. I always say there's a lot of crazy stuff in the Vatican. It's where a lot of people, suspect, like, also one of the huge PowerPoints of running the world, too. Not to mention there's, like, all the families and type. Well, we've already talked about a lot of that through BlackRock, Vanguard, the investment corporations that have, like, almost over $10 trillion worth of assets. Yeah,
and everything, yeah.
Yeah, so... when it comes to those, and this is where we, with going to the Crusades and claiming ancient land, let's go into ancient civilizations and lost technology. Yeah. And this is where it gets really interesting when we're talking about the lost books of the Bible. These ancient tablets, a lot of the stories coincide with talk about Moses, talk about some talk about Yeshua. But also before that, right? And so all these ancient from the Mayans and everything, they talk about these people come down on a fiery dragon. Yeah. Which, other people hypothesize that it's actually a spaceship. Yeah. But they looked at these people as gods, but they weren't. They're known as the Anunnaki gods. And due to the ancient tablets, like that Billy Carson guy, he's read them all, and his hypothesis is that these people were not God. They just had high technology. Yeah. And if you notice, there's pyramid structures all over the world. Yep. Just like the pyramids of Giza. But not, obviously not like exact.
Not exact, but still, like step pyramid. I can rattle off like.
Go ahead.
Native American in the United States. There's one in Missouri, I believe, was the largest Native American village ever. You have the Aztec temples and Mayan temples in modern day Mexico and Central America. The Incan step pyramids all the way down in Peru and South America, all throughout that area. Not Peru, maybe Colombia actually. Like Machu Picchu and stuff like that. You can go in India, China.
Machu Picchu. And then there's also Angkor Wat. And also, not to mention, that's built on top of a mountain.
Yeah, exactly. How is that? You start looking into the architectural, like, how did they do this? You can't even replicate. You can't even replicate the pyramids of Giza today. Don't quote me on that, but I'm almost 90% sure.
No, bro, you're 100%
because
right.
It's such precise cutting that we can't do with steel and lasers. And how did they even move those stones? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
So this is where I'm about to get. This is where we're getting deep into the pyramids again. So this is like where we're talking about like history is written by the victor. We're told all this dumbed down history stuff, which like at the end of the day, they don't teach us the full truth and never will. Yeah. And then they leave you with these wonders to really, bro, I don't remember really learning anything about the pyramids in school.
It's very brief.
I think it was very brief, but the majority
of them, I'm not saying it's not indoctrination, but it's such a, like, you would have to have so many history classes to even cover this.
That is
true. We should. The point is we should. Why do we not?
Well, at the end of the day, we have a whole bunch of bullshit classes anyway.
Yeah, honestly.
So why don't we have classes that are actually beneficial?
We need
who was the inventor of the School Board of Education? Was it J.P. Morgan?
Oh, shoot, I can't even remember.
Or J.D. Rockefeller?
I have no idea.
J.D. Rockefeller, yeah. He literally said, I remember this, he said he didn't want a country full of free thinkers. He wanted a country full of workers, not free thinkers.
Makes sense.
I mean, so you guys got to realize you're going through a program.
Yep.
That's why they call them programs. Like, which school program, right? So you're going through a program to get indoctrinated into, going with a 9-to-5 job, learning the thing, getting dumbed down, not knowing the full potential of yourself, etc. We talked about this, but we don't learn about the actual real shit. So, when it comes to the pyramids, man, there's so many unique facts about them. There's aquifers underneath the pyramids that goes in the Queen's Chamber, and the roof is made out of magnetite crystals. And it's already been proven. You don't even have to quote me. It's not even me saying this. This is studies and data coming from actual archaeologists and engineers that go there. And in the water, when mixed with magnetite, I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Crystals, some magnetite crystals, magnetite, whatever. It creates a physiostatic electricity. So it's like it literally, which is believed by a lot of the archaeologists and everything, that it was a power source.
Yeah.
So then going into the power source, there's a guy. Who was the guy who climbed the
yeah, I remember you telling me about him.
He literally talks about there's a guy who climbed the pyramids, and whenever he got up to halfway, and this is back in like 60s or 70s or something like that, and all the hairs on his neck and hair and head and arms and legs and everything stood up.
Yeah.
So that was actually, I mean, it just shows you right there. There's a lot of stuff, and it talks about this in the ancient tablets, which Billy Carson, I would highly advise. Like, go look up the Sean Ryan show and look up the episode with him and Billy Carson. He's a guy who got a certificate from MIT for neuroscience, and then he also got a certificate in ancient civilizations from Harvard. But what you call it? He has a episode with Sean Ryan, and it's on Sean Ryan's YouTube channel, or it's just podcast in general. It's episode 93. You can't find it on YouTube. Even if you type it in, it will not show you. You have to go on his podcast, on his channel, and scroll through. But he talks about, like, right nowadays, like, we're just rediscovering technology that was already lost.
Yeah. And like, just to touch on that a little bit, there's like, looking back at what ancient Rome did, that's a big one. They had aqueducts, right? They had a working sewer system. They had hot tubs, old school hot tubs, obviously. And they had the longest road ever in ancient history. So, and then we go into like a period of darkness for
we go backwards
for like 1,500 years until the Renaissance era, when it finally everything comes back and it's like, oh, we know how to do architecture again. But you literally decivilize everybody. Attila the Hun comes in, conquers Western Rome, splits. Attila the Hun comes in, conquers the Western Roman Empire. Rome crumbles, all these city-states form in Italy, Gaul confederates and becomes Free Group Barbossa's empire, and all these other different empires form, but they have no, they can't even match Rome. And that was 1,500 years ago until they can actually do some of the stuff that Rome was able to do. And that's just one civilization. You've got Egypt, which is, Egyptian Empire, I don't even know when they started, but I want to say like 2000 BC, ranging all the way until Rome conquered Egypt eventually. And then you've got Mesopotamian civilizations that probably had some crazy stuff. The Mayans, who were very advanced in astronomy.
Yes, dude. Like they like their calendar was so freaking accurate, man.
Yeah.
Like, and how are they able to understand this tech, like the stars, and our solar system, and everything so accurately?
Yeah, exactly.
And even in the ancient tablets, and this is not me saying this. This is other historians and people that have studied ancient tablets. They didn't build these temples and stuff. They literally inhabited it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the end of like, if these people are even talking about they are inhabiting this, they didn't build this. Who fucking built this shit?
Exactly.
How are these same structures all around the world? And this is where it talks about in the ancient tablets. It talks about how, like, there's this. I could be saying it's like some Lord Tote guy. He wasn't a god or anything. He was just they just had advanced technology that he had a brick mason that knew how to build these stone structures and create them to power sources, basically a computer structure. And then that's essentially what the Pyramid of Giza was, right?
Yeah.
So it was a power source that powered the whole city. It's crazy, and how it's perfectly in line with Orion. Not even to mention all the other temples around the world are perfectly in line with Orion.
Yeah.
That is just a very strange coincidence all across the world. In the ancient tablets, he talks about to his brick mason and his other people of his crew, like, go spread out around the world and duplicate what we did here. That's what he talks about. Which is crazy. And then so Billy Carson, and as he's an expert, and he talks about how we're just rediscovering lost technology nowadays, like the ADS system, the active denial system. Y'all got to look this up. This is a military weapon that we can use in large crowds. It lets out a loud burst.
I think SWAT teams utilize it too.
Yeah,
now.
it's a huge, it's a high pitched frequency.
Yep.
That it bursts out, and it causes like many different side effects. Like, people think they have like a heart attack. It gets voice in their heads. It causes pain. Makes people feel nauseous. It stops them in their tracks. That's an ADS system, right? Well, in the ancient tablets, it talks about like how he's seeing the pyramids below, and he's descending down, and then he gets out, and then the crowd of people are charging him, and he points, and it shows him pointing like a staff.
Yeah.
And he says he lets out, and I've told you this before, he lets out it shoots a ray of vibrations that stops people in their tracks.
Yeah.
Sounds a lot like an ADS.
Exactly.
Sounds like a lot like an active denial system.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, like, that's just like a hypothesis, but I mean, at the end of the day, like, this is very in comparison to what is on these tablets.
And we already have proof that we lost technology. Like, talking about the Rome stuff again, we already have proof that we lost technology and then rediscovered it like thousands of years later. So
the Romans?
You never know.
The Romans just stole that technology from these other ancient civilizations.
Exactly.
They probably stole it from Angkor Wat in Cambodia.
Yeah, look who they conquered. So.
Look at
how far that empire stretched.
Y'all need to look up Angkor Wat, Ankgor Wat, WAT, Angkor Wat. That is like the most insane. It's the biggest megalithic structure in the world. It's insane.
I'd never heard of it until you told me about
Literally,
it.
I know. I learned it from the Billy Carson. I'm like, what the hell? And this is dated. Like, the archaeologists saying this is to be thousands of years old.
Yeah.
And they literally on the second floor, they have a ginormous pool.
I didn't even know that.
On the second floor.
Yeah. How'd they even do that?
How is it thousands of years later and it still hasn't collapsed? This architecture. And then they have hydraulic systems to be able to funnel water, and they still irrigate all their land with that hydraulic system.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Which is nuts.
Yes.
Yeah.
How are these, like, you need calculus, you need precision, like, in more advanced tools, and like we can't even replicate this.
Pyramid of Giza is the same thing. That thing's a couple thousand years old at least. I'm shortchanging it.
No,
how is that still standing? You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it as like a normal stone
and
structure.
On top of that, so precise and then perfectly in line with Orion. And
exactly.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, I mean, when you read these ancient tablets, like, listen, like, it gets you thinking like, what is going on? And when you learn about the Anunnaki gods, like these people literally in these tablets talk about how they can walk from one dimension from Earth, basically step through. It shows them like holding a jet, stepping through a portal and going to his other side.
Yeah,
where he's from.
Yeah,
this is just in the ancient tablets, right? This could be BS, obviously, but this is stating back.
It's just like, why would they write that? Why would they put that there?
Yeah. It's just like
so it doesn't make any
storytelling,
sense.
right? Yeah, it just don't make sense. And then at the same time, how are these same structures all over the world?
Exactly. With these civilizations pretty much having no knowledge of each other, supposed no knowledge of each other.
Yeah,
like,
they didn't
didn't have any idea what Egypt was, according to history.
Because they thought they're probably on their own world. They probably thought like, this is it, man. I mean, think about that, man. You're so isolated. You don't have no social media or nothing. I mean, you think that's just it. Like where you live, that's it.
Exactly.
Like, you probably don't even know it.
Like China probably knew Egypt because of the Silk Road and trade and all that. I mean, Silk Road went into Europe, but they probably had trade agreements with Egypt and stuff like that. But explain Native American pyramids, like the Step pyramids, the Incan pyramids, the Mayan pyramids, the Aztec pyramids. Explain those compared to Egypt. They didn't even discover America until 1492. Like,
So like it doesn't make sense. But like this is where I'm saying in the ancient tablets, it talks about how he said to go replicate this across the world.
Exactly.
So like it gets you thinking like, is this true? And then also, not even to mention that there's a whole bunch of theories about how like, it being in line with Orion, how like there's like hieroglyphs of a beam shooting out of it and going to the sky. Yeah. And it's perfectly in line with that star.
Yeah, exactly.
And you communicate with frequency and light.
Yeah. How did they even know it was in line with the star?
Yes.
Yeah. And they don't have a telescope.
Dude, and you know what's crazy? You know what's another crazy fact? Is that he said that, and he's like, you can go look this up as actual facts. You can go into the Galleria from the entrance, the end of the gallery to the entrance in meters is the amount of meters per second the speed of light.
Yeah, which is it's nuts. You start dissecting like these ancient structures and just like the precision behind them, and it's not possible. Like it's not. They would have no idea of any of this stuff. How did they do it? Yeah. So there's a lot of question marks.
Yeah, I mean, and then there's another one too. If you listen to that podcast with Sean Ryan, it's very interesting. There's another one with the hieroglyph with one of the Anunnaki gods, and then there's three people. There's a table. There's a symbol of cymatic frequency, and how basically that reduces the amount of frequency vibrate. Like for instance, we talk about like if you put a brick on a table and you put a speaker underneath and you're blasting that subwoofer, it's going to vibrate the table and the brick is going to shift, right? And then that's essentially what do. And the person in the hieroglyph is, oh my gosh, the person in the hieroglyph is picking it up with one hand. Yeah. So. And his hypothesis is in others too to believe that like the frequency and the technology they had like reduces the weight of the stones because you mean to tell me that there's over 2 million bricks that make up the stones that make up the pyramid. Yeah, and they're all completely different, by the way. Yeah, do you know that?
And I didn't know that.
They're all completely different,
and they all weigh a tremendous amount too. Yes. To touch on that too.
Yes, they all weigh a tremendous amount, and you're telling me that like they use mud ramps and elephants to bring them up, like
and their construction time is ridiculous too. They say if it was to be constructed without assistance, it would have taken hundreds of years or something like that, and it supposedly only got built.
In the tablets, it talks about within like a few days. Yeah, like it's insane. The Angkor Wat temple they talk about in those hieroglyphs. They say that it was built in a day and a night.
See, that's impossible. Like thinking that how we think now. Yes, that could not happen.
Yes. So, and some people are like, "Oh, is this biblical day and night?" No, that's what they say. Yeah. So I mean, dude, whenever you dive into these and go read those tablets, like we could drop a reference in the description of where you can go to UCLA. He talks about it. You can type in these tablets and they translate, and you can read them yourself. But these are all dated to be thousands of years old.
Yeah, exactly.
And going on, it gets you just questioning just a fucking everything. Yeah. Like, you got guys like Stephen Greer, who's a doctor who's been studying UFOs his whole life. A lot of people are coming out, Whistle Conference.
We're gonna hit on that really hard next time we come out here with the integration with the deep state like, is there a deep state? How do they function and operate? And then we'll definitely touch on Stephen Greer.
Yeah.
He's had 2 episodes with Deshaun Ryan, so far they're both
yes,
good.
and I mean, this just goes to tell you, like, you know, like, where did all this knowledge go, and who has it? Who understands this knowledge? And I'm here to tell you, like, from my opinion and my hypothesis, it's just like these secret societies. And that Billy Carson guy talks about it. You know, other people coming out of the industry talk about, like, just like how Illuminati works and how they control, manipulate. But a lot of these people have this sacred knowledge of ancient Egypt and ancient civilizations that have control.
I mean, there's just no explanation to what happened to that knowledge. Like, what happened to it? Why can't we do that anymore?
And why can't we understand? Why aren't we taught it?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just very, very, very interesting. Whenever you guys dive into that, like, you know, that the pyramids were multi-functioning buildings.
Yep.
For communication and a power source, and then you got other pyramids across the world.
Exactly.
That are in line with Orion.
Yep.
And the same start coincidentally in how these people don't even know about each other.
Yeah.
And it gets like these ancient tablets like that correct, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's crazy. And then, you know, in these like ancient Sumerian tablets, they talk about people like going through portals, right? And then we can talk about CERN.
Yeah.
Okay, if y'all don't know CERN, it's like the particle accelerator deal. Like they're basically an underground like facility.
Yeah.
They go underground. They have a huge track, and they shoot particles at the speed of light and make them collide and try to see what it.
It's either in France or Switzerland.
It's in Switzerland.
Switzerland. Okay.
They tried to see what the reaction would be.
Yep.
Yeah, see what the reaction would be, and there's a lot of things. They actually dated to actually create a small black hole.
Oh yeah, I think I've heard of that. Yeah,
and it collapsed though. Like,
yeah.
And like that's where, and then they're trying to basically just do the Einstein Rosen bridge, because there's some, I think like Rosenberg and the Einstein, like their theory was basically to fold time in general, and then poke a hole right through it and basically create like a portal.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yep.
And then that's what they believe. But it's crazy. I mean, and then in front of the CERN, they have an ancient Indian god on a statue going through a portal.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what are the chances of this? We're talking about these ancient tablets, we're talking about these ancient civilizations, and then these people are like scientists and have a reference from the tablets in front of their talking about portals, and then are trying to do essentially the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's just, we're like, at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say here is like, we're not, we're just rediscovering technology that is already lost.
Yeah.
Like there's so many things, and I mean, it's a proven example what you're talking about since the Romans.
Yeah, just looking at Rome until the Renaissance.
The downfall that it went to the medieval time, dude,
Yeah,
where people
exactly.
were just had no sewage, throwing their fucking feces out in the streets,
yep.
the bubonic plague, all this stuff, and living at such a low life. And how did we progress? How did we regress backwards?
Yeah.
And it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. But at the end of the day, though, too, is not even this technology. It's like we're losing, and we've lost our conscious, man. Just awareness, too, man. Like that's where I feel like this forbidden knowledge, you know, is not taught to us, and people with elite power do, because they know how to control and manipulate people, and then keep us divided at such a low level. And then we're going back down to the original deal. It's like intentional division.
Yeah,
you know?
100%.
With racism, like how they invented racism. Like they depict the Roman general from being black to white. You know, same thing with Jesus, Yeshua.
Rewrite history.
It's rewriting history, and they don't. I mean, all this stuff, if we just understood real history, like this is why this just really just goes to the importance of history. Like we would, number one,
accurate history, mainly.
Accurate. Yeah. The truth history, not one side, not the other side, the truth.
Yep.
We would understand the intentional division, man. We'd understand a lot of the shit. It just don't make sense.
Yep.
And a lot of the stuff they tell us too doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of, you know, but yeah, my interest is just like on this lost technology, bro.
Yeah,
like,
it's just it's nuts to think about, because there's nobody has found an explanation for that.
No,
there's no It's
They
like they're not
probably
even looking
have.
into it. Yeah.
Yeah, there has. but-
Somebody has an explanation,
yeah,
but
but
common people don't.
The majority of the common people don't, because they don't want them, because they don't want us to understand the truth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what we lost. And I mean, think about what would come out at the whole time in history that the greatest Roman general or whatever was African American.
Yeah,
you know, or
exactly.
not African American, just African in general, just
Yeah.
black descent, right?
Yep.
So, like, how would that change? It would change just like
Change
so
everything.
much,
Yeah.
so much everything, and,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't depict so like it's just mind boggling, man.
Yep.
For just the complete manipulation from the Catholic Church and just from Europe to push that out and then have that control of their will
Yep.
out on other people. You know, make them give them their money and all this stuff. I mean, it's just I can see it clearly,
Yeah.
but not many people do.
No, not a lot of people know the history.
Is there anything else like that comes to your mind too? Just
No, man. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Just trying to understand history as best
like
you can.
we kind of just went on a little history deal like this. We just wanted to talk about history on this one because I
Yep.
mean, like it's super important, and like I encourage y'all dive into this, dive into the Mayan temples, you know, the pyramids of Giza, Angkor Wat, Bayan Temple or Bayan Temple in Cambodia, the Chinese pyramids, like. I mean, these are insane megalithic structures that contain so much history and advanced technology. Like, how do we regress?
Exactly.
And look up that episode with Billy Carson. It'll just open your mind overall. But then you guys realize, like, man, there's so much more to be discovered and talk about than just about fucking dumbass politics and racism. And
Oh
shit.
yeah, definitely.
Like,
dude.
there's more. Dude. Before this, I forgot to talk about this Easter Island.
Yeah, that's
Before
another
we get
one.
on this, if y'all don't know about Easter Island, I remember learning about this, and it's a very rare, not many people know. It's
it, yeah.
unexplained, but there's big, freaking huge, statues, like head statues and miniature body statues. I'd say miniature; they're about the size of a house. But the head statues, imagine like the size of like two houses put together.
Yeah,
they're that tall.
They're huge.
There's claimed to be their bodies are connected, like underneath the soil. But it shows to be proven that there was a world flood, and then it was like the mud deal due to the deal. But that's why some of them are bent over.
Yeah.
And everything.
I didn't know that. That's
yeah,
funny.
it's kind of crazy
Neat.
when you think about that. But just last year, somebody somehow got to bring enough jet fuel to a very, very difficult island and go through international airspace, go to the very difficult island to even get onto, and burn some of the heads.
Yeah.
And it's like, why?
Yeah.
And we are not even taught this the whole time we're talking about Ukraine and fucking Israel and Palestine.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know?
Yep.
There's so much.
There was no reporting on that.
I mean, man, there's so much.
Yep.
And there's so much that we could just not be talking. We need to be talking about the real shit. But I mean, this is just like an information episode. Y'all go out. The things we're talking about, do your research on it, and I guarantee you guys will be mind open to, because
It's nuts to think about.
it is.
Yeah.
Because then you start to really question just damn near everything. And then you guys realize, like, we are the problem. It's not the people running this world. Like, yeah, they have the control, but like, we are the problem because we're the ones that are blindly participating and abiding. And one deal is like, imagine if we all woke up, you know, you saw like we decided not to go to work.
Yeah.
Well, what would the economy be if everybody on Monday decided not to go to work? I almost just said this exactly as the same deal when it came to dudes like buying girls OnlyFans and shit, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if one day, if all these basement motherfuckers didn't give no sexual attention to these women and stuff online. Would they still? How would they feel? Like just one day.
Yeah.
The banking system was closed. These girls wouldn't be acting like freaking hookers on the internet, which is incentivized. I mean, when you think about it, they get paid a lot of money to do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, all this stuff, we're just blindly abiding. And the moment that y'all realize, like, we don't have to participate, it's just like, even with COVID, like, with the mask,
Exactly. Yeah.
like, Why was it such what like? Because a lot of people just blindly about, oh, okay, we'll just put on the mask, you know.
Yeah.
We'll just do what they say, but that's just one step closer.
Slippery slope.
What is that one step closer to?
Communism. That'd be my bet.
Yeah.
Being taking away your freedom.
Like, just like y'all learn real history, do the diving into this and understand like what is being rewritten, what has been lost. And the whole purpose of this is for y'all to open y'all's mind and go do your own research. Because if y'all do that, you'll find out the truth. You'll find out what's missing. You'll find out we're manipulated, how we're controlled over a period of time, and to blindly abide whatever's pushed out in front of us. And then that's how we stay in control. Because there's no one I want to end off on is there's an ancient picture talking about thousands of miniature humans carrying a ginormous giant man on a platform. And that's a huge picture because it's like we, the people, are all carrying this one individual, just ginormous individual. If we just didn't abide and stop carrying it, it would be powerful. It wouldn't be able to move, right? And that's what we're doing. We're carrying this country. So go do your research. Yep. Learn the truth. Yep. Learn the manipulation. And, you know, that's what's going to fix our country. And most important of all, focus on your health, focus on your mental capacity, to jump do 75 hard, get in the gym, watch your diet, watch your brain diet, and improve yourself first, and it'll trickle out to your family and create a bigger impact to the people in your household, your community, and the next thing you know, spread out to the country. So hope y'all enjoyed the episode. This is the information episode, and we'll see y'all next week. Let's go.
I knew that I was different. I said it, I thought it, I dreamt it, I said it, I did it, I made it, I tasted it, I love it, I need it.